Hello, everyone, and welcome to another EllieMD live educational series. We're so glad you're here with us as we continue our mission to help people live healthier, longer lives. At EllieMD, we go beyond telehealth. We're building a community rooted in education, innovation, and personalized support to empower your wellness journey. Today, we're thrilled to welcome back Courtney Ahdoot, a passionate health optimization specialist who blends science and strategy to help people take charge of their health. Courtney works with Rise Athletic Performance and brings a unique background in chemistry and physiology to her practice. Her expertise spans nutrition, exercise, supplementation, and lifestyle, all grounded in deep understanding of biochemistry and human performance. What truly sets Courtney apart is her specialized focus on peptide therapy. She has a gift for transforming complex science into clear, actionable steps that support hormone health, recovery, longevity, and body composition goals. Whether you're brand new to peptides or looking to refine your current routine, Courtney's insight make personalized protocols approachable, practical, and effective. Courtney, welcome back. Thank you for being
Thank you for
here.
having me back.
Yeah, can you just give us a quick background on how you got into this, what makes you so passionate about peptide therapy, and just tell us a little about yourself?
Absolutely. So, my thank you for that glowing introduction. A little bit more about my background. I have my bachelor's of science in health science from Chapman University, and in health science, I focused a lot on anatomy, physiology, and exercise science. I played soccer for 20 years through college and at the semi-pro level, and always had an interest in blending science and sport together. And when I graduated, I entered the personal care industry as a chemist and did research and development and product development as a chemist for I have about a decade under my belt there, and did everything from makeup, skincare, hair care, regulatory, you name it, I did it. And a huge focus of mine while I was formulating and while I was behind the bench as a chemist was integrating peptides in skincare and in hair care. And when I left the personal care industry and pursued more of the health and wellness side through one-on-one coaching and optimization and started my current career, I kind of stumbled into the peptide space in as it pertains to health and wellness and was like, wow, I already know a lot about these, being a chemist and having that background. So it just was a natural way to blend my passions together. And now here we are. The peptide space is rapidly expanding, and I've found my niche in helping people love them and utilize them as much as I do. And it's been the most fun experience getting to do so.
Oh, I love that we have such similar backgrounds. We're both biochemists. We've both been in skincare and we love peptides. We're passionate about it. We're passionate about health and wellness. I love that. Love that. Courtney, for those of us who are new to the call, can you start at the foundations of what are peptides? What do they do? How do they synergistically work with the body? Break it down for us.
Absolutely. So peptides are fancy names for amino acid chains. And what are amino acids? Amino acids are protein building blocks. So amino acids build peptides, peptides build proteins, proteins build tissues, tissues build organs, organ systems, organisms. So if we break it all the way down as to what we fundamentally are as biological human beings, is we are all these little tiny amino acids. So these amino acids, how we have been able to leverage them through peptide therapy is they are very, very, very specific. And how they work is on our cells, every individual cell that we have, there are these receptor docking stations, almost like how boats on docks have slips and they have certain assigned like parking spaces. Our cells have these similar docking stations. So these peptides are able to dock where they're, in their assigned spot, and it tells the cell, hey, do this, more of this, whether that's secreting a specific hormone, targeting an enzymatic reaction. It could be any number of biological processes. But if we those are naturally occurring. So by adding peptide therapy, we are now able to specifically kind of add more signals to those receptors so that we can elicit a particular response that we're after, whether that's muscle hypertrophy and growing muscle, whether that's fat breakdown, whether that is helping support hair, skin, and nails, recovery, energy production. We can be super, super specific because these amino acids are very detailed. So that's in a nutshell peptides and how we're able to leverage them for our best use.
And Courtney, you're a professional bodybuilder and athlete. You've been using peptides for yourself for a very long time. I know you're a huge fan of Tesamorelin, Ipamorelin. We just launched it to our entire community. Can you break down what Tesamorelin, Ipamorelin is and how it works with the body and what it does ultimately?
Yeah, so as she mentioned, I am a bodybuilder. I am still an amateur, but we're working on that pro card. But these are two peptides that I am very familiar with, both in my practice and in my use. Tesamorelin and Ipamorelin are going to start leaning towards, we have, Ellie has really made a statement in the industry for NAD and for cellular energy. And now we're leaning in towards building muscle and supporting healthy tissue. And tesamorelin and ipamorelin are going to be phenomenal for that. So tesamorelin and ipamorelin, to get into the nitty-gritties of it, tesamorelin is a synthetic analog of growth hormone releasing hormone. So, growth hormone releasing hormone is going to be what signals our pituitary gland, which is in our brain, to release growth hormone. Growth hormone is responsible for growth, for growing muscle, growing bone, growing cartilage, growing hair, um, growing new cells. Anything that starts with growth, growth hormone is going to be the predecessor for that. And so tesamorelin is going to bind to the pituitary gland. It's going to dock onto those GHRH, growth hormone releasing hormone receptors, and it's going to stimulate the body to produce and to release its own growth hormone. So you're telling your body, hey, we want more of this, and your body's going to go, cool, we're going to make more and we're going to release more. Because if we're just telling it to make more, and we're just binding it up in our cells, what good is it doing? Or if we're just telling it to release it and we don't have the stores of that growth hormone to release, what good is it? So tesamorelin is going to release or produce and release. Ipamorelin is a selective growth hormone secretagogue receptor, or a GHSR. And it's going to be a GHSR agonist. It's going to mimic particular actions that focus almost entirely on growth hormone release. And to put it simply, because I know those are a lot of big science words, and it's like, all right, what does it do? Growth hormone or tesamorelin is like the starter key, and ipamorelin is like a fuel injector, and it keeps the release clean and steady while tesamorelin starts the engine.
Yeah. One's like we had Dr. Jason on a couple weeks ago who talked about it, and he's like one's like the accelerator and the other one's like releasing the brake off the car. If you just release the brake, the car will go slowly. However, if you really want to go fast, you put your foot down on the accelerator and you release the brake, and now the body can go. So one's like the release valve, one's the actual natural production. So can you talk to us, why is growth hormone? I mean, you touched on why growth hormone is important, but can you talk to us about growth hormone and how it dips as we get older, like, and why we need to supplement it in the first place, especially as we get a little bit older. Can you talk
Absolutely.
to us about that?
So, growth hormone naturally kind of follows a curve throughout our life. When we think about growth hormone therapy in a traditional medicinal setting, you hear a lot about it for children who are not hitting milestones, who are not hitting weight milestones, height milestones. They're potentially dealing with not their body not triggering puberty responses. There's some issue going on there. So you supplement growth hormone, and all of a sudden their weight is coming up, their height is coming up, they're hitting normal milestone markers. And so as we are growing and as we are in our early development years, we have a lot of growth hormone because there's a lot of growth taking place. That growth is, you know, the massive growth spurts that we go through. Well, once you hit your, let's say your 20s, you're done growing. You're not hitting those big 6-inch summers anymore where you're shooting up like a weed and you're going to your mom and going, I need new shoes again. It's not as relevant for bodily functions to need the amount of growth hormone that we need when we're younger. Now, we still need growth hormone because, like I said, that's the predecessor to new cell development, to helping grow tissues, to helping put on good amount of lean muscle, to mitigate fat. If we have the more muscle that we have, the less fat our body is capable of holding on to. And that's what creates really anabolic systems or really muscular advantageous systems. So we need to make sure that we're supporting natural growth hormone production throughout our life while still following that natural kind of bell curve where we don't need as much as we needed when we were kids, when we were preteens, when we were starting those big growth spurt phases. But we want to maintain healthy levels so that we can continue to maintain size, structure, bone density, overall health well throughout our lives. And having that growth hormone and being able to now tell your body to naturally produce more of its own versus taking a synthetic supplement is can be really advantageous for many people, but especially aging populations that are dealing with things like muscle loss and bone density issues and a whole host of other ailments.
That's right. So what I hear you say is we need growth hormone throughout our lives, but it starts to dip as we get older, and we need to supplement it if your body is not naturally producing it. So, and you briefly touched on this, the synthetic kinds of growth hormone. I know in the bodybuilding community, it's very, a lot of people take steroids and growth hormone, synthetic growth hormone. Can you differentiate between the differences between synthetic growth hormone and taking a peptide such as tesamorelin, ipamorelin?
Absolutely. It's a great question. So to be 100% very clear, tesamorelin and ipamorelin are not steroids. So that is, if you are like, hey, I heard the word steroids. That's not something I participate in. That is 100% not, they are not steroids. These peptides are secretagogues. They stimulate your body to produce its own growth hormone production. And why that's important is we have these feedback loops in our body that help our body tell itself when to stop and when to start. So we have negative feedback and we have positive feedback. So negative feedback is, hey, we're not seeing enough of this anymore. Okay, we need to reset the balance, or we're seeing too much of this. We need to back off the gas a little bit. And it just keeps your body in that natural balance of finding homeostasis, which is just that cellular happy spot. Whereas synthetic growth hormone bypasses that signaling pathway and gives you growth hormone exogenously. So instead of telling your body, hey, make more, it's just giving it more. Instead of giving you the directions to make it to whatever location you're trying to get to, you're just teleporting to that location. So synthetic growth hormone, you you are bypassing those natural feedback loops. So that will lead to or can lead to suppression over time of natural production, whereas telling your body to make more or do more, you are keeping those pathways intact.
Yeah, and I get this question all the time. Well, if I take these peptides, won't my body naturally stop producing growth hormone? I get this question a lot, and can you answer that? Because what I
Yeah.
heard you say is one helps your body's natural production of growth hormone. So it's like a supplementation, whereas one is like replacing the signals. So
Mhm.
can you talk to us about will our bodies stop producing growth hormone if we stop taking these peptides?
No, it will not. Because you are maintaining the integrity of those feedback loops, there's no danger of shutting your body's natural production down. However, if you start taking tesamorelin, ipamorelin, and you are getting great results, that's going to be due to the fact that your body is making more and producing more of its own. You're telling your body to do it by itself. Um, when you do stop, or if you were to cycle off completely and not restart the therapy, you can expect that you aren't going to maintain those levels. So it is something that does require supplementation smartly over time. But if you were to stop, you don't regress. You don't go backwards from where you started.
Yeah. And so testosterone is not the only GHRH or growth hormone releasing hormone out there. There's also Samorelin, there's CJC. Um, what makes
Hexarelin, there's
Hexarelin? Thank you. There's a couple. What makes tesamorelin and paired with ipamorelin so special? What's special about this pairing?
so tesamorelin is like the Cadillac of GHRHs. It is as close to traditional growth hormone that you can get while maintaining those natural feedback loops. And the reason for this, allow me to get a little bit nerdy on you here, but growth hormone is a 44 amino acid long chain, amino acid peptide. So it has 44 different amino acids on it that make up its integrity, its backbone.
I like to think of it as a necklace. It's
Yeah,
like
that's a great way to
chain
think about
with
it.
different, yeah, little beads on
Yes.
your necklace.
It
Okay.
has 44 charms on it, and those 44 charms all make that necklace unique and special and beautiful and makes it what it is. And tesamorelin is a complete 44 amino acid long chain. It has a slightly different ending terminal. It's called an end terminal. And that end terminal is almost like if you were to take that necklace and you were to dip it in like 24 karat plated gold. And all of a sudden, those charms are now super protected. They're not going to, you can wear them in the shower. They're not going to rust. They're not going to tarnish. They're not going to stain. They're not going to turn your skin green because they've been dipped. But it's still that 44 length charm. It still has all the same charms as growth hormone, whereas some of the other GHRHs are incomplete in their amino acid profile. So they might have 29 of the charms. Still beautiful, still really pretty, can still look really good with your outfit, but you're not getting all 44. So tesamorelin is that complete growth hormone peptide, and it's as good as you are going to get without going into growth hormone, which we just talked about, why you would want to use a GHRH versus growth hormone.
God, I'm loving this analogy. I'm going to use that one.
I like it.
I love it. Charms jewelry. I could. Um, Now, can you talk to us about the pairing with ipamorelin? Why is
Yes.
it, yeah,
Yes.
why is it such a nice the dynamic duo?
The dynamic duo, exactly. So Tesmarelin, we've talked about, it gives that strong GH release, and it's going to start the engine. And then we're adding that Ipamorelin for synergy, and that is going to boost total growth hormone output without adding the extra hormone side effects. So growth hormone side effects often include things like unwanted hair growth, can change the shape of your jaw is a really popular growth hormone side effect that we don't love to see. You can get some belly distension, you can get some subcutaneous water bloat and edema. And so there's none of that with ipamorelin, there's none of that with tesamorelin. They mimic your body's signal for growth hormone release, and it's hard to put a numeric value on it, but it almost like doubles the growth hormone release. So you're going to be yielding better results than either one can do by themselves.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you for the analogies and thank you for the explanation. Okay, let's talk about what does this do for me? What's in it for me if I take this? I know that Tesamorelin is FDA approved for HIV patients who experience lipodystrophy or accumulation of fat in different regions of their body. And so tesamorelin has been shown to help with especially visceral fat, but fat accumulation in different parts of the body, especially abdominal fat. Can you tell us what the biggest reason or what benefits people can experience. And also, just to understand in our community, a lot of us, including myself, have lost significant amounts of weight on GLP-1. So we're on that journey. Now we've lost the weight 50 pounds, 40 pounds, 20 pounds, wherever you are on this journey, 60 pounds, 100 pounds. Now it's like we're looking at that next phase of optimization and healing our bodies and, optimizing it really. So, what will tesamorelin and ipamorelin do for our bodies?
Absolutely. So, speaking to the journey aspect of it, is you've lost the fat, and now what? Now, how do we keep that fat off, and how do we build a better body? That is that how do and better is going to be stronger, healthier, more anabolic, more metabolically active. It's better. It's not just better looking, it's better from the inside out. And how tesamorelin and ipamorelin are going to do that is through a couple of ways. First of all, it's going to help you put lean tissue on. It's going to help you put that lean muscle that is going to build the foundation for not only aesthetically the body that you want to have looking back at you in the mirror, but it's also going to build the muscle that is going to help you get off the toilet when you're 80, or help you play with your grandkids, or help you carry in your groceries, or help you live alone longer. Muscle is a tremendous indicator of your health span, and the amount of muscle that you have is a tremendous indicator of your ability to live a long and fulfilling life. So let's make sure that we have it. It's not going to make you bulky. It's not going to make you big. You're not going to wake up and go, I have 30-inch biceps all of a sudden. But it is going to help you put on more of that lean, beautiful muscle tissue. Tesamorelin is also, you touched a little bit on this, honey, is it's going to target visceral fat. And visceral fat is, or VAT, visceral adipose tissue, is the deep belly fat that surrounds your organs. And the visceral fat is the dangerous fat that we see associated with things like type 2 diabetes, fatty liver disease, atherosclerosis. This is not going to be your love handles. This is going to be the fat that you can't see that is doing the damage that you are feeling. And it's because it's hormonally active, so it is messing with your hormones, and it's also pumping out inflammatory cytokines that are basically telling your body that something is wrong, that we need to promote an inflammatory response. So if you constantly feel like you are weathering a storm, that your body is in fight or flight, that you have traditional symptoms of things like estrogen dominance that you cannot seem to get rid of, this might be something that starts alarming in your brain of going, maybe this could be something that's worth looking into for me. But and then again, the ipamorelin is going to be increasing the benefits of the tesamorelin. It's going to be adding in that extra razzle dazzle of increasing muscle, decreasing fat, and helping you keep it off. I talked about this a little bit too, but the more muscle that you have, the more anabolic your body is. And what that means is you can eat more. Your resting amount of calories goes up because muscle is a more anabolically active tissue. It requires more energy than fat does. So you can eat more without gaining weight. And are you're going to be in a your body is going to be more primed for optimal health levels the more muscle that you have. So, more muscle, more power, life is good with more muscle.
Yeah. To go back to the fat loss and fat, so you differentiated between the two different kinds of there's visceral fat and then there's subcutaneous fat. So it seems like the subcutaneous fat we wear, the visceral fat we really feel.
Absolutely.
What ages our body, that's what leads to inflammation and all sorts of disease-related outcomes. Will this help with subcutaneous fat? Because I want to look good too. I don't want to
Absolutely.
just feel good. I want to look good. So will Tesamorelin help me with subcutaneous fat loss?
Absolutely. It will continue to help with subcutaneous fat loss as well. You just have the added benefit of targeting that visceral fat now as well. So
Because
yes,
visceral fat's hard to get rid of. It's like
visceral fat
in
is
there, it's the
sticky.
last type of fat that you get rid of, right? It's
Mhm.
like, yeah.
Yes. This is that stubborn fat. It's sticky. It loves to hang out where it is. It doesn't want to go anywhere. Your subcutaneous fat is going to leave before your visceral fat leaves, which is also a good reason to add this post using a GLP or in conjunction with a GLP, because that GLP is going to target more of that subcutaneous fat. So great synergy now between creating a stack here and creating some pretty advanced protocols is you're on your GLP and or you've completed your time on your GLP, you've lost the subcutaneous fat that you want to lose, but now let's get that visceral fat out of there. So we've done the aesthetic, now let's do the internal. And so it's a great way to maintain results from your GLP and the subcutaneous fat loss that you've seen, while also now we're getting real healthy with it also.
Love that. So it sounds like you're reducing your inflammation, you're feeling good. There's other benefits as well, better sleep and libido and all sorts of. Can you touch on some of the additional benefits that you may experience while being on these peptides?
Yeah, so you're going to see um, all kinds of benefits because your body is starting to optimize. So we're seeing increased recovery time or decreased recovery time, increase in recovery, and that is because growth hormone and growth hormones like Sidekick is called IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor. It's another hormone that our body produces, and those are both growth peptides and growth hormones in our body. And those are going to work really well to promote cartilage regeneration, tendon and ligament repair. So if you have a nagging injury or something that doesn't seem to go away, or you are dealing with, post-surgery, you had to get your knee replaced, you had to get your shoulder worked on, whatever it may be, these can also help rapidly increase your rate of healing. Um, it you're going to be producing more collagen production anyway, so you are going to probably notice an increase in like the radiance in your skin, a decrease in fine lines and wrinkles. We all love that. Now we can, now we're talking about great synergy with things like GHKCU and copper peptide. Also, there's a ton of information coming out because growth hormone and sleep are so closely tied together. Growth hormone is released from the same gland that melatonin is released from. Melatonin is our sleep hormone. Um, and they go hand in hand together. The more growth hormone that you have, the better you're most likely going to be sleeping. So, cognitive benefits, longevity benefits. If we're sleeping better, we're going to have more energy. If we're sleeping better, our cells are going to be less stressed. Your memory consolidation is better, your mood stability, your daytime focus. Those are all direct results from improved sleep and from a cognitive standpoint. So you're really hitting optimization and body optimization from quite a few different perspectives here by using Tessa IPA.
Yeah, it sounds like so it does more than one thing. It works synergistically with a lot of different processes. Well, it makes sense. Growth hormones involved in a lot of processes. And we see that with a lot of our peptides, right? From NAD to GLPs to this one now. Um, can we touch on brain health a little bit more? and how tesamorelin, ipamorelin, and growth hormone in general affect brain health, cognitive health function, and so forth.
Absolutely. So, growth hormone is going to enhance neurogenesis. And neurogenesis is the formation of neurons. Neurons are nerve cells, and neurons are very well known to be very stubborn in their regeneration, in their growth. This is why neuron related injuries are as serious as they are. So, if somebody injures their spinal cord, the reason why their spinal cord doesn't just heal is the neurons don't have a tremendous capability to repair themselves. That's why cognitive disorders, things like Parkinson's, ALS, dementia, Alzheimer's, are as serious as they are, is because there's no way to regenerate those neurons. But growth hormone is going to support and enhance neurogenesis. So that's going to be the formation of new neurons. So you are protecting yourself from different cognitive related issues. So you are implementing a first line defense against some cognitive issues. It's not 100%, but it does have those benefits. It also supports myelin maintenance. Myelin are the sheets that protect neurons. So neurons have a tail on them, and those tails are what communicate with other neurons. So the tails come together, and then the signals hop from tail to tail. And they're able to do that because of this myelin. So this myelin is like a tube that increases the rate that information can be passed from neuron to neuron. So that's why thoughts can happen at the rate that they do is because of this myelin. So if we can support myelin maintenance, that's going to be directly linked to your ability to be coherent, to have a stable mood, to have normal speech patterns, to have normal thought patterns, to be able to move your body efficiently and accurately. All of those are myelin related. So there's quite a few different neurocomplexities that we're looking at here that are touched with growth hormone and with enhancing the production and release of them.
It's so interesting because diseases like MS, for example, that directly attacks the myelin. So I
Mhm.
wonder what the studies are on the effects of these growth hormone releasing peptides and so
I
forth.
think it's promising. I think that there's so much room in the peptide space to for so much growth to happen. And we really are sitting on so much new valuable information that the space is rapidly changing and new information is coming out what seems like every day on something. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's information that comes out in the near future about its abilities to be helpful and neuroprotective.
And unfortunately, they don't teach this in medical school. I don't know why they pass over peptides in medical school. Nutrition's like a couple hour course.
We could have a whole nother
I know,
conversation
I know.
about all that.
A lot of promises in this space, and I wish doctors, I mean, it's happening. I just read an article about a famous billionaire that's investing in a medical school. Alice Walton, as you guys know from Walmart, she's investing in a medical school, and it's going to be focused on. First of all, it's free for medical students, and it's all going to be focused on disease prevention instead of maintenance and putting Band-Aid on things. Like we need communities. We need to have these conversations to talk about preventative care. How do we not even get sick in the first place? So I love that we're talking about this. We're at the forefront of this movement. So that's wonderful.
Really.
Can you talk to us about what other lifestyle and dietary habits do we have to make? What adjustments do we have to make in order to optimize the benefits of these peptides?
Absolutely. So it's important to note these peptides are amazing, wonderful, truly transformative compounds. That does not mean that they replace lifestyle habits. That does not mean that you can still consume if your goal is to continue body recomp, lose fat, gain muscle. That does not mean that you get to throw nutrition out the window and say, oh, but I'm taking this peptide and it's going to do the lifting, the heavy lifting for me. I talked about this on the first call that I was on. We have to think about this as a pyramid, our health as a pyramid. And it's those foundations of wellness. What are you doing? How are you moving your body? What are you doing to exercise? Are you walking? Are you lifting weights? Are you doing Pilates? What's your output? And then we have to look at our input. What are you putting in your mouth every day? What are you putting in your mouth on a consistent basis? And then we can talk about as that pyramid goes up, what are we doing to supplement? What are we doing to increase what we are already doing as that foundational level? If we flip our pyramid and we're relying on those peptides as the base of our pyramid, we're creating a really unsteady structure. So things that you can do while on Tessa IPA to maximize your benefits of it, eating a high protein diet. That's going to preserve lean muscle. That is going to help you build more muscle. That is going to help keep you satiated. Protein is the most satiating macronutrient. Um, that is going to be a huge key. Resistance training. Resistance training not only signals your body to produce muscle, but it also signals your body to keep muscle. So if you are somebody that just went through an intense fat loss phase using a GLP, we now want to make sure that the tissue that we are building and that we are keeping is the tissue that we want, is muscle tissue. Um,
Oh,
you go ahead.
no, I'm sorry. I thought you were finished, but keep going.
Um, some other kind of micro things, because Um, insulin is also very tied to growth hormone. Moderating your intake of sugar and simple carbohydrates around your injection time can actually be really helpful in maintaining a really strong insulin pulse and in maintaining a really strong IGF, which is that insulin-like growth factor pulse. So that's going to help you um, continue to stay in that most optimal state. And then also getting really good sleep and allowing your body to recover and allowing your body to repair and use all of the goodness that you're giving it. One of the most anabolic things that you can do is sleep. Do not sleep on your sleep.
Courtney, I've been using Tessa IPA for now 2 weeks. I'm going on. I cycled the first round. Now I started my second round. And I can tell you, like, the sleep that I've been getting while on these peptides has been remarkable. And
It's
like, I don't even move. I take it, I go to bed, I wake up really refreshed. And it has helped with brain fog, which is something, especially around my cycle. The brain fog is real. I don't know about you ladies, but mine comes on strong. And it's been very helpful. Energy, I've noticed increased energy, but I am noticing a slight bit of difference in my body composition. One thing I have noticed is increase in hunger, and that's why I've paired it with tirzepatide or GLP, GIPs. I paired it with. Can you talk about some of the side effects and also who is this ideal for and who is this not for? Some of the side effects and disbenefits. I'm getting a lot of that in the chats. What are the risk factors? Maybe you could touch on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll start with this from the top or from the bottom up, and we'll talk about the most common but also the most mild side effects first. There are going to be things like injection site reactions. So you might notice a little bit of redness, itching, swelling, a little bit of bruising. Totally normal, totally fine. Um, you might notice some slight headaches, especially your first couple weeks of using things as your body adjusts to anything. Um, if you are somebody who's a more sensitive individual to um, new compounds, you might notice that you kind of go through a little bit of a headache phase. Headache, nausea kind of go hand in hand with each other. You might notice some mild water retention, and that's due to an increase in your growth hormone production, but again, mild. Metabolically and hormonally, you're going to see that increase in IGF-1, which is generally a really good thing because that means that we're that the Tessa and IPA is doing what it's supposed to do. but it may raise your blood sugar ever so slightly for those first few adjustment weeks. So if you're somebody that notices, um, like, oh, for myself personally, I can tell when my blood sugar is starting to drop throughout the day. It's something I'm really not only tuned into, given my profession and my hobbies and my lifestyle, but also it's just I personally notice it. So that's something that you can notice. Um, you might notice as well some joint related side effects. You might notice like some tightness in your wrists or your knees. Again, that's due to the water balance from the growth hormone. Mild. It usually evens out within the first couple of weeks. Um, Rare and more uncommon and less reported symptoms, you can be allergic to it. So if you notice yourself having an allergic reaction, please go seek medical attention. These are things that you can be allergic to, um, and um, and you can have some more severe joint issues if you are somebody that is predisposed to those things. Things like carpal tunnel, those would be can be exacerbated with these. Um, but beyond that, they are pretty well tolerated, well regulated. Obviously, the how you dose and what your protocol looks like can definitely impact your side effect profile. I like to say my goal is always to do the most with the least. So starting at a low conservative dose and tapering up is going to not only allow you to see what your body responds best to, but also is going to mitigate a lot of those side effects early on. So those would be my best bets there. As far as who is best to take Tessa-IPA, um, I mean, a lot of people will benefit from taking Tessa-IPA.
Okay,
Um,
who is this not for? Let's talk about it. If you have
okay,
contraindications, let's touch on that. If you have tumors, cancers, maybe you could speak.
yes. So, who should avoid Tessa-IPA? If you have an active form of cancer or a history of any kind of malignancy, please do yourself a huge service and stay away from any GHRH, GHRP, from traditional growth hormone, from an IGF-1. They all promote cellular growth. They all promote anabolism, muscle anabolism, blood cells, cartilage, tendons, all the things that we've been talking about. But they can potentially accelerate tumor growth as well. So if you are somebody that has an active cancer, is recently recovering, or a history of any kind of malignancy, I do not recommend that the benefit. I do not think that the benefits in this case outweigh the risk. Um, if you have a history, if you have a family history in your immediate family, then that is a risk, you know, that you have to take and you have to weigh for yourself. It does not, I want to be very clear, Tessa, IPA, growth hormone releasing peptides, growth hormone in that category, they do not cause cancer. They do not cause cancer. They only promote cell growth. So if you are predisposed to cancer or the cancer is already there, then you are now giving it the chance to accelerate in its growth. So it doesn't cause it, but if you have it, it may exacerbate it, which is why we want to.
Yeah, there's some research out there that talks about how it could actually protect your body against cancer
Mhm.
and tumor growth and so forth. So always consult your primary care physician because they have a full history of your health. Always talk to your doctor about this before starting this or any sort of medication, any new medication.
Yes.
Always consult your doctor. Thank you for touching on that. I saw a lot of questions in the chat about that. Here, let's take some questions. Tiffany asked, could this help break several months stall? I'm down 100 pounds on tirzepatide, diet and exercise is in check. Can this help with a weight loss stall?
Yes, absolutely. When you dealing with a plateau, first of all, congratulations on 100 pounds down. That is absolutely incredible. You should be very, very proud of yourself there. Yes, it can definitely help you in that plateau. But something else that I encourage you to look at here is you've just lost 100 pounds, and your weight, while you potentially might not be losing weight at this point on the scale because you're now gaining muscle. So I see you talking about you're lifting while you listen. So you're actively trying to put muscle on, which is going to have a weight associated to it. So I really recommend for everybody, as a really good way to gauge not just using the scale as a tool for monitoring weight loss, but also looking at your measurements. So your waist measurement, your hip measurement, because if your waist is getting smaller, the scale is staying the same and your glute measurement is going up. I'll take that hand of cards any day. A smaller waist and a bigger butt with a skate with the same number, that's when we really see those like photographic changes of oh, this is 150 pounds and this is 150 pounds, but these people don't look anything alike. So just because you're hitting a weight plateau does not mean you are hitting a progress plateau. So yes, these absolutely can help you overcome and kickstart the next part of your journey, like we've talked about, but also make sure that we're giving your progress the respect that it absolutely deserves and keeping that healthy mindset involved.
Courtney, do men and women have different fat and muscle composition? And drug or do these peptides affect men and women differently?
So from a physiological standpoint, no, they work on the same pathway. Men are going to always be able to put muscle on a little bit easier than women, a lot of it easier than women, and they hold fat in different places. So men tend to hold fat in their midsections, while women tend to hold fat in their hips and their butt and their legs. So it's not going to affect you differently from a physiological standpoint, but it's very possible that a man is going to have a much more anabolic response because men are just more anabolic individuals to begin with. So it's like hitting the gas in a supercar versus hitting the gas in a traditional sports car. It's not that there's anything wrong with either car. They're just different cars.
Mhm.
So we always have to keep that in mind that the men, when it comes to weight loss and when it comes to muscle gain, usually have it just a teeny, 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 tiny bit or better, or not better, but easier than women do, and that's usually due to hormones.
Okay. I heard teeny, 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 tiny, so
Teeny,
that's
teeny,
okay.
teeny,
I
tiny.
could deal with that. I like to take mine before bed because one, it helps me sleep better, and I know during sleep you get your biggest spike in growth hormone. But how do you tell your clients to cycle, or I guess what protocol do you take it in the morning? Do you take it before a workout? Do you take it before bed? What do you like to recommend as far as protocol goes?
Yeah, so I personally like to follow that same mind or idea of taking it at night. I think it works really it works best at night. You're able to follow that natural growth hormone pulsing at night. As far as cycle information for Tessa IPA, that can really vary based on your dose. And if you're taking a more conservative dose, you can take it for longer because if you're trying to hit an end dose, you're getting to that end dose slower. I personally like around a 12-week cycle for Tessa IPA and then cycling off for about 4 to 6 weeks, depending on your tolerance. Um, you can also, but like I said, you can taper that off and you can take a smaller dose for longer and cycle off for longer. But I like to I usually find a sweet spot around that 3 month, 12 week time.
Mm. Dr. J, who was on, was talking about, well, some of his patients actually get a spike in energy when they take Tesamorelin at nighttime. So that's the thing. It's hard to really determine a protocol because you have to see how this works with your body. So for some people, it works really, really well in the morning. For some people, it works at nighttime. Like for me, it works really well at nighttime. And also, maybe you touch on why you should take it on an empty stomach versus when you've just recently eaten. Maybe you could touch on that.
Absolutely. So, first of all, it's a great point. These are going to affect everybody in slightly different ways. So, working with somebody that you trust and who knows what they're talking about is going to be very important so that you can go to them and say, "Hey, you told me that I was going to be sleeping better, but I get super wired after I take this. What can we do?" You want to be able to be working with somebody that can tailor a protocol for you. Um, Ideally, you want to be taking, if you do take it at night, 2 to 3 hours after your last meal. And if you take it in the morning, then before breakfast, before you have anything in your system. And why this matters is there's three big reasons. First of all, growth hormone release is sensitive to your insulin levels. So your insulin levels are directly tied to whatever you just ate. High insulin at the time of your peptide injection will stop the best growth hormone secretion, which is going to reduce its abilities to be beneficial. Um, and the second reason is you want to mimic your natural growth hormone pulses. So, administering Tesa-IPA on an empty stomach aligns better with those natural growth hormone pulses, again, enhancing its effectiveness. And then the third reason, and probably the most interesting, is it's going to be the best at mobilizing fat when taken fasted. So it's growth hormone favors lipolysis. If insulin is high, the body shifts to storing fat versus releasing fat. So if we can take it fasted, then we don't have to worry about that fat mobilization being blunted. We are now getting the most amount of benefit, fat mobilization, muscle anabolism, and growth hormone pulsality by just taking it away from food.
Ah, such great information, Courtney. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're just about out of time. Can you share with us about just a little touch on your services, where we can find you, and if we want to get in touch, how do we get in touch with you? Can you share that?
Absolutely. Brenda just shared my Instagram in the chat. That is 100% the best way to contact me. I know there were a lot of questions in the chat that we weren't able to get to. So please, please, please feel free to DM me. You can also find me on Facebook. I will do my best to be on the lookout for any message requests. It's just my name, Courtney Ahdoot. You should see a picture of me. My email is in my Facebook banner. You can always email me. Um, or you can reach out to Ellie or to Honey, to Brenda, to Janet, and we can always get back in touch there. But I really do my best to get back to everyone. Please feel free, and I'm happy to answer any questions that I can. Or if you would like to work together and help me help you build out a protocol, I would absolutely love to do that. I also will still be offering after the last call if anybody that came to me looking for a protocol did get us an Ellie discount. So I will continue to have that Ellie discount for anybody that comes to me from this call. And yeah, any questions, anything like that, please, please, please do not hesitate to reach out. This is what I love to talk about. So I am happy to do so.
Aw, thank you. Look at all the messages. Thank you so much for a great call. Thank you, Courtney, and thank you all for tuning in. If you're joining us on another call, we're having a little launch party. So be sure to tune in there. You should have the link in your email. Thank you again, Courtney. Oh, we loved having you. We loved having you. And thank you to this beautiful community that tunes in on a weekly basis to educate ourselves and our communities. We love you so much. Have a wonderful night, everyone. Thank you and good night. Mwah. Thank you, Courtney. Good
Thank
night.
you, honey.